Hey there, it's Nikas. So I wanted to make a little video tonight about fear. I was at a meeting today, and there was someone that was sharing at the meeting who, the person who was sharing from the podium, talked about how he, when he relapses, he just keeps coming back. He just, that's his thing, is he just keeps coming back. And what I shared was that, when I have had those types of thoughts, the thoughts that took me out were usually things that I was unwilling to turn over to God, right? So there were things that I wanted to keep sacred, keep as mine, keep as, I'm not going to involve God in all this stuff. And it's that stuff that I wanted to keep as mine in my little safety spot. That's the stuff that I ended up getting loaded over. Turns out, things like sex life and money life and I don't know, just that kind of stuff. And so I made a point of just saying, I have to pay attention to when my mind takes me to a thoughtful place that tries to make everything okay. Like, I just keep coming back, and then that's that. And so anyway, there was another guy who raised his hand right after me, and he wanted to just make sure that everybody was well aware that relapsing is not okay, and it's not okay for people to be talking about relapsing, and he's just disgusted by all this stuff. And and hey, that's a great opinion too. It's been my experience though with relapse that if relapse has happened or is currently happening, right, past tense, this is not moving forward. Right? It's just this: if it's happened or is currently happening, investigate it. What the hell do you need to see about yourself? What is God showing you? There's my understanding of the wills, is there really is only one universal will. My will exists up here in thought, but the moment my thought turns into an action, that action becomes a recordable part of the universe, and that recordable part of the universe is then can interact with other things. And just because I have a my will thought, well, the moment the my will thought actually turns into a my will reality, then it is governed by the laws of the rest of everything else, and absolutely nothing happens by mistake. So when an action actually happens, it ceases to be my will and begins to be God's will. So, as God's will, I need to find out exactly what is it trying to show me. Okay, if there's no accidents and there's no mistakes, that means there's only blessings. So what is the blessing I need to look for? Where do I need to investigate? What rock do I need to turn over? What thought process led me to this? What fearful thought? What thing did I think? What truth did I manufacture in my head that's not true that led me to do something? That's what we find out in steps 5 is admit to ourselves, to God, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. So the exact nature is our thoughts, the thoughts leading up to, the thoughts that I believe as true, then therefore I XYZ. There's two ways that we can exist in life. One is in fear, and the other is in faith. And so when you come at this thing from a fearful, you can't talk about relapse because that'll the newcomer. You try to shield people from everything. You try to make everything really nice and beautifully colored, but that's not reality. Reality is people relapse. Does relapse have to be a part of recovery? If it is not yours, it doesn't. But guess what? There's a lot of other people that it does. In the front of the big book, it says, and this is in the forward of the second edition, it says 50% got sober at once and remained that way, 25% after some additional relapses. So the book in 1955 says that there was 25 of the people that came to AA and really tried, really made a go of it. 25% of those people were relapsing. And that's when they had a 50% success rate right off the bat. So 50 and 25% together means 75%, which is a pretty gosh darn good success rate. I don't think AA is that now. But I'll tell you what, that success rate was a success rate that came from faith, right? So nowhere in that big book does it talk about, well, you need to call your sponsor and this. No, it's all about going straight to God, right? Straight to spirituality. This program is Spirituality 101 in the steps, right? So it doesn't say step 12, having had a spiritual awakening, you'll stay sober for the rest of your life and live happily ever after. No, it doesn't. It says, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, these 11 steps prior, we carry this message. The message we carry is, if you too do these 11 steps prior, you too will have a spiritual awakening. In the back of the book, a spiritual awakening is the thing that it says I can't exactly remember the words off the top of my head, but it is the thing that is necessary for recovery from alcoholism, right? So it is the thing that makes all of the promises come true. All of them. There's 149 plus promises in the book. Less than 15 of them have to do with the cessation of drinking. That's not many. The rest of the promises that come true are spirituality-based things that will happen, that will change the way in which you respond to life. It says in the spiritual experience, at some point the newcomer begins to see that he has undergone a profound alteration in his reaction to life. A profound alteration in his reactions to life. So life doesn't change. What changes is me and my thinking and my ideas and my beliefs. That's what changes. I change. Life doesn't change. Life is still the same. It's still the same messed up life it ever was, right? It's just my responses now, my reactions to life, completely 100% different. So the 9 step promises, right? And just for you, I'm going to read them. The 9 step promises: if we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we'll be amazed before we're halfway through. So if we have taken pains, right, to go out and do our amends, so do our 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, right? If we really, really, really looked hard at who and what we are, what is running us, and then gone out and made amends for all the things that we've done in our past, reparations, thing that we can actually right our wrongs, right? If we're painstaking about this part of the process, be amazed when we're halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. So it's not the old freedom and the old happiness, it's a new one. And this freedom that they talk about, in my experience, my humble experience, I am free from drugs and alcohol. I am free from people's, judgments. I'm free from, but I'm also, it's a two-way freedom. I can give that freedom now. I can give that freedom away. I can allow you to be you. I can allow things to be as they are. So not only am I free from, but I give freedom. It's a whole different way of having freedom. And the new happiness is joy. Happiness was based in things that I got or acquired or had, or it's outside stuff. Joy comes from within. Joy, this is something that wells up from inside. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others, right? That feeling of uselessness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows, right? So this whole idea of me, this selfishness, this self-seeking, this self-centeredness just slips away. And we suddenly gain interest in other people. How can I help you? What can I bring to this? How can I add? Right? Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Everything will change. Fear of people and our economic insecurities will leave us. Do you know how amazing that is to not be fearful of what people have to say or what people have to think, and not be fearful of finances? We will intuitively know how to handle situations which used to baffle us. Sorry, it's so dark at the moment. how situations used to baffle us. We will realize that God is suddenly doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. So we couldn't stop drinking on our own power. We had to have God's help. And what we realize when we're done with this ninth step and we get these ninth step promises is we will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we couldn't do for ourselves. It's being done for us. So you know when people stand up and they say, oh, I've got 60 days and they get a 60-day chip. And say, well, how did you do it? Well, I did this, and I did this, and I did this. Not often do you hear people tell the truth. I just showed up and I trusted and God did the rest. Because it's done for us. That which we could not do gets done for us. Right? Okay, so that's the ninth step promises. And then it says, are these extravagant promises? And most people just rattle off. We think not. You know what? If I'm at one of my meetings that I can be my playful self at, I scream out, fuck yeah, they are. Because you know what? They are extravagant promises. Because if they're not happening for you, they're amazing promises. They're amazing promises. All right, so that's the ninth step. I want to just get into the 10th step promises, which, so the 10th step is, 4 through 9 on a daily basis. So really, after you get done with step 9, you are well into a spiritual awakening. All those promises that just came true have nothing to do with the cessation of alcohol. They have everything to do with the way that you will just react and respond totally differently in life. That you've never acted like that before, and now you suddenly are in every situation, in every affair. Man, I got goosebumps. This is crazy. And then 10 is 4 through 9 on a regular basis. The 10th step promises when all this starts to just work, when it just happens, when it just becomes a natural part of your beingness, when you've awoken to the point where there's just not much left to have to constantly 10th step and look for flaws and everything. Stuff will come up. Stuff does come up. But it becomes few and far between if you've been painstaking about this part of the development. If you've really done your work and found out what the hell is running you, then this stuff becomes few and far between. Not to say it doesn't come up, but not often. 10th step promises. And we have ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol. Ceased fighting anything or anyone, even alcohol. So that's, my teacher, Adi Shanti, talks about, one of his teachers describes spiritual awakening as coming into a state of absolute cooperation with the inevitable. So the inevitable is life happening as life does. I become in a state of absolute cooperation ready to say, okay, unexpected, but yes. I'm in a state of cooperation. That means I'm not fighting. If I'm fighting, I'm in a state of no. But I'm in a state of cooperation. I'm just, okay, all right. Maybe this is a little other than I thought, but okay, that's where we're at. So we've ceased fighting anything or anyone, including alcohol. By this time, sanity will have returned. So my sanity is when I come into this thing and I think that things should be, or I think that you should be, or I think this is not right, and I think that this is, that's insane. That's completely insane. So life isn't messed up. My idea of life, the story that I think of life, that's what's messed up. And by going through these steps, I get to see that my story of life, that's been the problem. It's not life. It's nothing I can point at. It's my interpretation, my misperceptions of reality. That's the problem. So in the 10th step, if we've been thorough about the work that we've done, sanity has returned. We no longer want things to be other than the way that they are, because that's how they are. And God doesn't make mistakes. So this is obviously God's will, what's happening right here. It may not be what I want, but this is how God is unfolding God's amazing world in front of me. We will seldom be interested in liquor, if tempted. We recoil from it like a hot flame. So, this is the third 10-step promise. We'll seldom be interested. And if it's offered, we'll just recoil. No, we don't want it. We react sanely and normally, and we find that this has happened automatically. So we react, right, to liquor, to everything. everything in life. We react sanely and normally. Just, oh, okay, yeah. And we find this happens automatically, not with a huge effort, not with a huge push. We will see that our new attitude towards liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our part. It's not something I go and do and demand of others because I'm fearful that you can't do this and you shouldn't do that and you shouldn't go to that bar and I can't go there. No, it has nothing to do with any of that. That's living in fear. This is talking about living in faith, right? It says, it just comes. That is the miracle of it. I don't know about you, but the last time I created a miracle in my life was never, right? So it just comes, meaning it's given. It is a gift. It is grace. Grace is an undeserved gift. There's nothing that I can do that will cause this thing to happen. It's grace steps in and allows this thing to happen for me, through me, to me. We are not fighting it. Neither are we avoiding temptation. We feel as though we have been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. Just in this place of neutrality, safe and protected. We've not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has been removed. Outside influence comes in, takes it, and takes it away. The problem has been removed. It does not exist for us. We are not cocky, nor are we afraid. Okay, so we don't get egoic about it. We go, oh, look at me, I'm so and you and I got fucking 30 years and blah. No, it has nothing to do with it. We're not cocky, nor are we fearful or afraid. We're just normal people who it's been removed. It's a miracle, so we're grateful. That is our experience. That is how we react so long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. Okay? So steps 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 gets us into fit spiritual condition. Can we lose our conditioning? It's possible. If you've been really thorough about those things, you see all the little cul-de-sacs, you see all the little tricks of the mind, you see all the ways in which your mind tries to trick you, and you don't follow into it anymore. You just don't. Just don't. It does say right here, it's easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. So the accomplishments of yesterday, it's very easy to use those to try to, stay sober today. No. For we are headed for trouble if we do. For alcohol is a subtle foe, right? It's fucking sneaky. We are not cured of alcoholism. What we have is a daily reprieve, contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. Okay? So what I get is a daily today, right? Today is given to me. I'm given a reprieve. A reprieve is like a stay of execution, right? So the executor's not coming today because I've been given a reprieve by God. Thy will be done. Not every every day is a day that we must take the vision of God's will into all of our activities. How can I serve thee? Thy will be done, not mine. I'll stop reading that there because it's so dark I can't see it. Right. So that's the 10-step promises. It's not that you're going to do it yourself. It's going to be done for you. You don't have to be fearful. You don't have to live in fear. You don't have to impose your fear on other people. Because, we're all walking this walk. We all have our walk that's uniquely ours. Everybody's sobriety is different. My sobriety is not yours. Your sobriety is not hers. His sobriety is not his. No, everybody's is a different walk. My understanding is to respect everyone's walk as their own. I cannot define another person's walk, nor ever would I try. Right? Because that would be trying to play God, thinking I know what's right for everybody, which I don't. 152,000 people a day die. A number of those people die from drugs and alcohol. I would hope that somebody who's got a drug and alcohol problem will die of drugs and alcohol, and not somebody who's a non-alcoholic. They can die in other ways, but I get a little excited about this. And it's not an excitement that I think people should be different. It's an excitement of just look a little deeper. Just see this. This is not you. This is a God thing. This is all spirituality. It only talks about alcohol in the very first step, right? That I'm powerless. All the rest of the steps, all the way to step 12, just talk about all these things that we're going to do, ways in which we're going to look in life, and ways that things are going to change. Follow your internal rudder. Find it by doing the steps, praying, and meditating on a daily basis. Well.